Welcome to another video. I'm gonna put this Yachtmaster together with a grey sunburst dial. Let's take the back off. This is quite tight. I did put a lot of pressure on it. I thought I had it. No. Let's try again. I need to get a proper case back opener. I think I got it now. Yeah. So it's going to be a Yachtmaster grey sunburst dial with an NH35A. Got some nice hands with that as well. It's going to be a super clean build. Oops. Everything just jumped all over the place. Now you know why I start with opening the case. So that nothing else, if it would have been out of their protective cases, gets destroyed otherwise. There's stuff flying around. Let's have a look at this dial here. So the dial has a couple of feet that fit into the movement. I need to clip off two of them. Let's have a look-see. Got flush wire cutters for that. And I'll use that in a little bit and then use a little nail file to make it all nice and tidy. Let's have a proper look. Identifying the first victim of the cutters. Measure twice, cut once. I do that a bit off the side. Don't want that part to fall into the mechanism, to the movement. All right, let's have a look-see. The other one, snip that one off as well. I think I got it. Nice and flat. And I don't have to sand off too much. Let's do a little test fit. Oh no, let's do the filing. Let's just jump straight into the filing of this. I need another pad that I can hold this on. I don't want to make this white pad too dirty because I'm going to be working on that later on. So I've got a second one. I use a little nail file to remove the remainder of the posts. Just gently sanding that off. Oops. Yeah, this is why you have to have your finger cuts ready as well. There we go. It's nice and tidy. Get rid of the dust, blow that off. Side. Important to just take your time. Grab the right tools for the job and make sure everything stays dust free and free of little pieces of debris while you're putting these together. All right. Let's push that onto the mechanism, the movement. Hopefully it will slide just in. Yes, it does. Very carefully, making sure everything's neatly aligned. Let's go into the next stage, the hands. But before I do that, make sure that any little bits and pieces are removed. I'm using some Rodico for that. Picks up the dirt nicely. If blowing with the little blue thing doesn't work, need to get my right press on it. Press tool. Hands are always a bit fiddly. Oops. Oh dear. That case was very tight. I should have used something to open it slowly. But let's have a look at the dials here. They're all looking okay. Let's start off with the hour hand. For this I need to progress the movement. Let's make some space here. Set that aside so that I can pick it up nicely once we've got everything ready to go. Very hard to pick up this one. And there we go. Everything facing the right side up. Makes it nicer just to work through it. Now I'm going to progress the movement until the date window flips through. Making sure I'm winding away from myself. I keep on getting that wrong, but I guess it's just experience that I'm trying to go the other way. Hear it click here. Okay, let's move forward, and there we go. Let's do one more 24-hour cycle. When the date window flips through, I'll do that really slowly, so that I've got a nice 12-hour or midnight click over once all the hands have been attached. All right, ready to do the hands. Starting off with the hour hand. I must say the hands that I got, they're looking pretty, but I've got a sense that the fitment is not entirely nice with these ones, but we'll make do with what we have. Here that is nice and neatly aligned. Let's press it on and see how the fitment is. Make sure I get the right size. Need the one with the big hole at the bottom. I guess that one will do. Press it on. Let's try the other one. Not too much force. You just want to have it settle on the little cog that's in there. Yeah, the fitment is not that nice of these hands. It's a bit fiddly, they're not really straight. Just battling through this. Bear with me. We'll get them on there. Hands are always the trickiest bit. Let's do the hour hand next, and I'll see how the alignment is. Make sure that they're nice and level with the movement and the dial. The dial is properly pressed in. Now, let's have a look-see. Not entirely pressed on yet. This one, perfect alignment. Midnight. There we go. Let's have a look-see from the side, what it looks like. Not interfering with each other, but I'm not really happy with this. The hour hand, it's hard to see in the video, of course, but the hour hand is a bit off kilt, and I want to get that straight. Let's see if I can adjust that slightly by using my tweezers. Really working. I'm not happy with this. Just want it to be right. Let me just grab my tools to remove these gently without scratching up the dial. That's always a risk. So I've got a couple of things for that. A little dial protector, and I'll also use that little plastic bag that I just showed, just to pop them off gently. Here we go. That's the dial protector. Came with the kit from AliEx. Alright, that looks kind of safe. I've seen Wristwatch Revival do this many times. No. I really want to do that baggy on top. Just to make sure I don't scratch up the hands. And just gently from the center, oink him off. There we go. Very nice. It's nice that they stay on the... it's a little bit sticky on the top, the dial protector, so the hands actually stick to it a bit. Let's put those aside. You can see that. It's a bit sticky. Now let's try this again. If you're not happy, just take a step back. Make sure you've got the time nicely aligned. Midnight. Go. Alright. Now the movement is ready and set to accept the hands for a second time. See, I move the movement in a position that it's easy for me to put the hands on, because it's harder for me to manipulate the hands in the tweezers. But I like to use tweezers for this. A lot of people seem to use Rodico just to position them, but I'd like to put the hands on with the tweezers and then push them down, so that you don't have two hands manipulating one hand. The right size tool again. I need to look up exactly which one I need to use, but this one has, I think, the right hole in the middle. Then I can push it nicely onto the stem there. Let's see what the alignment does. That looks a lot neater already. It's not perfect yet. Or is it? Let's just circle through it until it clicks again. Put that hand. It goes up really slowly. There we go. Minute hand is going to be next. It's upside down, so I need to twist that one around. This is the fiddly bit, and you have to be very careful. I've got wooden tips on my tweezers so that it doesn't have a chance even to scratch. And if everything else fails, you just pick it up with a bit of Rodico, and then you grab it. Okay, again, move the movement, not your tweezers. And this is the fiddly bit. Oh. Rodico. We'll get this. Just gently. Making sure that it gets seated here. Come on, you can do it. Let's push that one on as well. Yeah. Sometimes you just need to fiddle a bit with this to make them all neatly aligned. Pick up some of the dust and debris. There's always something blowing around here. Fiddle with it a little bit. See if it's properly seated. Usually what I do is I gently push or pull on the hands, just to see if it's actually holding on or it's just on the edge of it. Usually when you do that, they pop off if it's not right. But if it is right, then they stay there, and then you know, okay, it's properly on there. Last thing you want is once you've built it, that the hands just fall off. This one was a bit loose, so just aligning it a bit more. Fiddly fiddly. Now, am I happy with this? Let's have a look here. Just a little adjustment. Oops. That's what I meant with it's not tight enough if it just falls off like that. So I'm glad I caught that. Can reattach it. First get the hour hand nice and straight. As I said, these weren't the best ones that I've had. The fit onto the movement is not as smooth as previous hands that I put onto movements. So we can get this with the correct amount of patience. Find that. Let's push it on again. I want them nice and level with the dial. You just have to gently manipulate it until you get it right. Looking at it from the side, making sure it's level with the dial. In the meantime, I also keep the dial, keep an eye on the dial if it doesn't slightly pop off the movement. That can also happen when you're manipulating it like this. Alright, second hand next, and it doesn't really matter where you exactly put it. So find a nice angle that you can do that with. I do like to use Rodico for the second hand because it's so tiny. I'm just afraid to pinch it with the tweezers. Alright, let's push this puppy in. And since this needs to be pushed on a really teensy spindle, it's a bit iffy, but usually I get it first try. There we go. It's not running because it's pulled out. So let's have a look-see. Okay. It's getting a bit close to the hour hand, so I need to see if I can get the angle a bit different. And I'm just trying to push it under a little bit of an angle. See if I can gently get a bit more space between the hour hand and the second hand. Yeah. Pushing on the spindle in the middle where it's connecting to the movement and just gently trying to slide it on at a somewhat different angle. It's still brushing against each other. That's not good. You don't want to put this into the case because that will interfere with how the movement is actually progressing through time. Clean that up a bit. These dials, they scratch so fast. have a look-see. Leaning more slowly, manipulating the hands so that they neatly align. All right, that looks good. Let's put it into the case. For that, I need to remove the crown stem, little notch there, but I need to hold it upside down for that before I can put it into the case. But I want to do this neatly, so I've got a little holder here. I'll just do a dial down in there. It won't shoot off that far, so that it won't shoot off and make a bit of a mess out of this. So I need to press this little thing here. Dial holder is too wide. I'm gonna scratch the dial. You can do that. Size this up so it only grabs and holds on to the edges. Let's put that back in there. No pressure, it just has to hold on to it. I can put a little bit of pressure on that release button that's there. So, before we put it in there, let's make sure it's all dust free and everything. A little brush for that, and a little air pump, hand pump. Brushing up on the side of my desk so that anything that gets manipulated out of it falls on the floor and not on my desk, or even worse, on the dial and movement. Blast that with some air. Remove the crown. Easy to work with. Easier to work with without the crown on it. It's the alignment and crown stem time. Let's put that straight. Oh, it's in a bit. Needs a little bit of an adjustment here. I'll just again use my tweezers just to slide it around. Seems that it's seated really well. Make sure that's properly seated. Pushing in a bit more, and it's smooth. It's nice. Beautiful movement. It's the crown stem. Now we need to cut that to size. What I like to do is I use little tool calipers, digital calipers, but I don't really use it to measure the amount of millimeters. I use one side of the calipers, and you'll see me do that. So this crown actually has a little springy bit at the end. You have to put pressure on it, slide it all the way in. Just make sure it's aligned. Yeah, all good. Slide it all in. Make sure it clicks into the mechanism. Then I push it in. Then I measure with my caliper, which I'm fetching right now, the distance between the crown when it's fully pushed in and the case. Notice that this actually works pretty well with this side. So I can just squeeze that in between. And I do it on the back side so that if I scratch the body, nobody will ever notice. Hide your sins, as they say. A little bit fiddly. There we go. Now I've got the size. 6.82 millimeters. Let's remove the crown stem. Work closely to the desk, and it won't drop from high heights. So I'm using a little crown stem clipper to snip it off, and then I'll use a file to make sure that it's it will not have any threads that won't properly function in the crown itself when I reattach it. Now I'm filing it. I'm not going to do that on top of my workspace. I'm using a little nail file for that. Make sure that any dust that was in the air is gone. Let's reattach the crown to the stem. It's not really fitting. Need to use the file a bit more. And do a test fit. Going in. Yes, that feels, I think that feels okay. No, it doesn't. A bit more filing. I think the threads are a little bit knackered from the crown stem tool. The snips there. File. I'm using a little nail file for that. We're so close to finishing this, but it needs to be done exactly right. Too long and you can't screw down the crown correctly. Too short and you can't get the mechanism to properly work anymore. And this is why when you start this hobby, always get like a case of crown stems that fit the movements that you're going to use. Because the movement usually comes with just one crown stem. Okay, I got it now. Let's see the fitment of this. Slide it back in. See if we can all the way push it down. That looks okay. And when these movements are new, or these cases are new, usually it's a little bit rough to get the crown to fit in. It's not going in entirely. So I'm going to take off a notch, just like maybe 0.5 millimeter. Let me push the button in again. Little lever type function on this NH35A movement. Okay, some more filing. I think I got it now. Neatly. Push it in. Threads right for the crown onto the case. This in, and this is a nice, tight, snug fit. Yes, I'm happy with this. All right. Now we have to remove it again because we need to use a little bit of Loctite. Make sure that when we're doing something with the crown, it doesn't come off the crown stem. Oops. This crown stem is quite jumpy today. All right. Let's make a bit of space. I'll put a drop of Loctite on this this dial paper. It's going to go into the trash anyway. Just a drop is enough. Come here, you. There we go. Just on the threaded part, not the other side. We do just a little hint. Roll the crown onto that again. Write it on. Make sure it goes all the way. A bit of tissue paper. Clean it up. Oh, it's all done. You're very, very close. I think we can actually close the back now. One or two more puffs with the air pusher. And let's not forget to silicone the ring. It's a little bit of silicone grease in here. Make sure that the water tightness is going to be optimal. Put that one in there. And there's a little notch in the body that this thing slides into nicely. Let's align that. Eventually it will find its own way. There we go. Beautiful. And now let's put the case back on. A few more puffs, of course, of air. There we go. Twist that on gently. Use the case back ball. Let's make sure everything still works before I tighten it up. Hands moving freely. Everything can go anywhere it wants to. Nice. Second's hand is going. The date is shifting, switching through. Nice and tight. You can take off the plastic protectors. Stickers. Because now we're going to start using it and we need to build up a little bit of patina over the years that we do that. And those plastic protectors, if you leave them on and expose them to, let's say, sunlight, UV light, it actually gets nasty and a bit of nastiness here. They actually get nasty and sticky and hard and crusty. So best to remove them. So it's two on this side as well. I have to grab onto with the tweezers. But I've got a different little tool for that. Little hook. Just not trying to scratch the case with this. Just want to grab onto it. There we go. That's one. And let's do the other one as well. Fantastic. That works. Now the fiddly bit. This was hard to remove when I was prepping the case and the bracelet. But let's put the bracelet on. These steel bracelets are quite tight. You have to try from one side. If that doesn't work, try the other side. And usually one side works, the other side might not work when there's not that much tolerance in between. All right. First things first. The short end should be at the 12 o'clock. That's how these cases and bracelets work. One side is shorter than the other. The number of links to the clasp at the back. Just a fiddly bit. Get in there. Got it. That was easy. And now I'm dreading the other side, because that was giving me a bit of a headache when I tried to remove it before I shot this video. But I did get it out. Oop. Here the fun starts. Let's open up the clasp. And I've got a little bit more space to play with. Very close to getting this now. I think it's on there. And here we go. No. Suddenly you just get it. Get lucky. Okay, let's try the other side. See if we're lucky there. Okay, that one popped in nicely. I think this build is done. It's in there tight. Very nice. Let's have a look-see. Ta-da. The gray sunburst dial, Yachtmaster. Sicko. Hope you enjoyed the video. And see you all next time.